Good evening, everybody. Matt M. Roy back once again. Got two people here. Happy New Year to everybody. I am so glad that you are able to be here. Let me fix my shirt collar here a little bit. Been playing around with the lighting a little bit, and I think this gives me the best lighting experience that I've had so far. Keep the the headlights, I don't know what you want to call them, the ceiling lights off. Keep this fluorescent light on, and then the back LED light. So while we're waiting for a few people to get here, I wasn't originally going to do one tonight, but everybody was asking me to do this live stream. Whoa. That just did something really weird. Here we go. See, Happy New Year from Hired Gun and from Stephen Barber. Stephen Barber asks, how are you? I'm doing just fine. The folks are good too. My dad's asleep. He could not make it. He could not make it to New Year's. He never hasn't in years. I think the last time he was up for New Year's was maybe, oh man, 2000 or 2001. He's not a night owl like we are. That's for sure. It was John Doe that said, we need a New Year's Eve live chat video tonight because you can. And he did the really cool emoji face with the cool dark sunglasses on there. That's pretty cool. Well, hopefully this goes well. I'm wondering if the lighting is so good because of my shirt. You know, I'm wearing an aqua colored shirt. Maybe that's helping the camera focus, but I can see that the lighting is like just perfect right now. I'm going to try to keep this up as much as I can. George Blakely's here, says hello. Hey to you too. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Now, I want to say I hope nobody is driving tonight because it is really dangerous this time. There are a lot of people out there that like to drive drunk. A lot of people like to drive buzzed. And it doesn't matter if you're driving buzzed or you're driving drunk. Both are equally dangerous. As a matter of fact, I don't have any plans to go anywhere tomorrow unless I absolutely have to. So I recommend everybody else do the same thing. And believe me, I would like to go out tomorrow because this is getting to the time where the thrift stores are going to be packed with goodies. And when I mean goodies, all the computers, the monitors, all various electronics, basically the stuff that people want to get rid of because they got a new one for Christmas. And that brings up another good point. Not only am I going to be looking for computers and monitors, you know, towers, laptops, but also game systems. A lot of people maybe are finally getting rid of their Xbox 360s or their Wii U's and getting a current generation system. And I actually want those because they sell really well on the secondhand market. I mean, you look at eBay, Craigslist, OfferUp. You can still sell a Wii. Even an original Wii will sell for $40 to $60. A Wii U will sell like for $80 to $100, especially if you pair some games with them. So hopefully I'll be able to get down to the thrift stores within the next few days. Elizabeth Forte says, Happy New Year's from Mike Litz, Drew, and Kaya. Happy New Year's to you guys as well. So nice to see everybody here. I never know how good it's going to be on New Year's Eve because a lot of people are spending time with their family. But, hey, we got about 11 people here, so that's good. Didn't forget it. I did not forget my jug of water. Much better. Stephen Barber says, the only place I'm going tomorrow is church. Other than that, I'm staying home. Very smart. Doubt we're going to be going to church tomorrow. Let's see, tomorrow. Yeah, there really isn't anything going on there anyway. What are you doing, choir rehearsal or something like that? You got 2 likes. Come on, help me up with some likes here. I know you guys want to give me some likes. Gunther 8544 the other day in response to my Aldi versus Lidl, he said, "You can walk straight line from Aldi to Lidl at Chesapeake Square." Absolutely true. And they do that for good reason. They want the competition because the competition actually will make more money, believe it or not, for both the stores. You get foot traffic from one to the other because both stores cannot do everything the best. So you have Aldi that does certain things better than Lidl and vice versa. And the fact they're so close together is people can shop both stores, and that actually benefits both stores in the long run. Evan Height, Hight. What's your favorite kind of computer? A working one. No. Dell. Dell has always been my favorite ever since the Gateway went out. Actually, Gateway used to be my favorite, and now it's definitely Dell, specifically the Optiplex series. Basically because they're bulletproof. I mean, they are really solidly built. It's a business class system that will last for years and years and years. I actually have customers that I set up with Dell Optiplexes 5 or 6 years ago, and they're still going strong. Though by now they're ready for an upgrade. But if they wanted to, they could keep those things going for much longer. James King said, "Are you still doing your live stream?" Yes, I am. I wonder if he's going to come or not. This is James King. He's contacted me through Facebook, and I love his Facebook picture profile, like a highly animated Hank Hill. He's going like this. That's cute. I like that. Hope I didn't just scare a bunch of people off. Andrew Mallory, hey Matt, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. I'm glad to see a lot of people, few people here I haven't seen in the past. That's interesting. Chicago to show you guys something really cute. Mom and I wanted to get our walk in today, so we went to the mall and we got about 3 miles in, and I wound up doing my 20,000 steps. But I was waiting for Mom. She was in Target. Yes, I know. We were shopping at Target again. That's a whole story that I don't want to get into right now. But right outside of Target, they have those vending machines, specifically the ones that usually, what do you call them, like gumball machines. But they have all these different things. I went up to one, and I was able to get this. It's a miniature fidget spinner. Check this out. I'll tell you, this is really relaxing. They'll put me to sleep for sure. I have a bigger version of this, but because I have small hands, this actually works really well for me. And I'm really surprised at how well balanced it is, especially for like a little 75-cent China-made toy. It actually spins pretty well. Let's see how long it'll spin. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10. About 10 seconds, which is not too bad for a cheap little toy like that. Hello there. Hey, Matt, just had Cameron drop me home after a New Year's Day lunch. Tuning in from New Zealand. Nice. Wow. I tell you, I can't believe everybody across the world gets to see these. It amazes me to think just 10, 15 years ago, this wasn't even possible. Cameron Klaus said, my cat swallowed a mini fidget spinner once. He couldn't sit still for days. Well, thank you for telling me. I'll definitely keep this out of reach of Milo, because you know how Milo eats anything. Well, hopefully it was okay. Yeah, I mean, cats, you got to be really careful. They're, for the most part, they're picky eaters. But when it comes to weird things like this, just like a little baby, a little toddler, they'll put it in their mouth. And if they can swallow it, they will. You got to be very careful with stuff like this. It's a weird sound. I think it's my mother. She's watching the Twilight. We've been watching the Twilight Zone marathon, and we usually do that up until midnight. That's why I usually don't do these live streams on New Year's Eve, because usually we're doing that, like I said, up to midnight. But this year I wanted to give back to you guys. You guys give so much to me. I want to make sure I at least did a New Year's Eve live stream. Hello there. Funny thing, my cat is purring away, lying on my bed while I watch this. His name is Jerry. Well, hello, Jerry. Nice to meet you. My cat will do that too, Milo. He sleeps with me at night, right in between my legs. He plops there, lays down, and just makes a night of it. Especially likes when I have the heater on, because cats, being from their ancestors were from Africa, and the very hot, humid climates. They like it when it's hot, so if I keep my heater on, he'll be with me all night long. Cameron Clout asks, what's your favorite MASH episode? That's a real hard one. Oh, man. I love so many episodes. Probably have to say my absolute favorite episode was the first episode when Charles came, David Ogden Stiers. That first episode when he came and he tried everything and anything to get out of that, having to be at that MASH unit. But by the end, Potter called him into his office, Colonel Potter, and said, yeah, you're permanently assigned here. And the reason, if you don't remember, the reason that Charles went there in the first place is they showed a cutscene right after they couldn't find Frank of Charles there with a general. They were playing, I want to say it was poker, and the general wound up owing Charles something like $400 or $600, and instead of having to pay it, he immediately booked Charles on a flight to the MASH unit, and that's why he was actually assigned to that MASH unit, because the general didn't want to have to pay out to him. So that was probably my favorite episode, if you guys remember that one. Yep, I agree. It was a good episode. There was another one. That's probably my favorite episode with Potter. I think my favorite Henry Blake episode. There was one, I don't remember the name of it, where someone in the camp was trying to off him. In other words, they were trying to kill him. There are a few ways they did it. They blew up the latrine with him in it. They ran a Jeep into his tent in the middle of the night, and I think there was another way. But and again, I don't remember the name of the episode, but that was probably my favorite Henry Blake episode versus my favorite Colonel Potter episode. Cameron Clout says we should recommend movies and you review them. I could do that. I'm not very good with the editing part. I know there are a lot of people on YouTube that'll actually put movies up, like clip scenes, and review each scene. I'd like to figure out how to do that. I haven't. I do what I do, and I do it well. But when it comes to really technical stuff, I just don't have the attention span for it, unfortunately. Cameron Cloud says, Matt, Facebook me. I want to send you some New Zealand snacks for you to try. I would love to do that. Yeah. Let me remind me to do that afterwards. I know you're on my Facebook, but that would be really cool. I'd love to do some food reviews. I don't know if I actually have you on Facebook, Cameron. Send me a link to your Facebook page if you don't mind. Buddy45, Happy New Year, Matt. Hope all is well. Doing as well as can be expected. As we get older, we have those little aches and pains that plague us from time to time, but can't really complain. And if I did, who would listen, right? You probably would. Nick Roberts says, watch Deuce Bigelow. Okay, that's right. Thank you, Cameron. I got it. I don't know why I couldn't find your account for some stupid reason. Oh, my goodness. Adam Whitaker asks, hot swapping a 3.5-inch to 5.25-inch bay hard drive caddy. I would never recommend hot swapping any hard drive. You know, theoretically it's possible, but you really run the risk of corrupting the data, especially if you're writing to it. The hard drive stops, you see no activity, you think that it's finished writing, but there might be a few lines of code that hadn't transferred yet. And if you unplug that cable, you're going to be in trouble. I would just, I would just unmount it, or in our case, just eject it. It just makes a lot more sense. Buddy45, I like your MASH 4077 VHS tapes in the background. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I have been watching those religiously over the past couple of weeks. I bring them out every once in a while. Now, sadly, because they're VHS tapes, they have degraded over time, and quite a few of them don't play very well, especially in my JVC hi-fi VCR, because to get that hi-fi signal, the tape has to be in really good shape, and they've gotten like these little crinkles in them over time. And I even think some of the chemicals have degraded, because some of them, they'll play okay, but you'll see like the lines going through them once in a while, and specifically you'll hear, especially in hi-fi mode, you'll hear kind of the distortion in the background every once in a while. So eventually, unfortunately, those tapes will probably have to go in the dustbin as they start to break and wear out. But don't fret, I can get MASH. I have it on DVD, but I do like the nostalgia of actually watching the VHS tapes. That's really important to me. I love nostalgia. I love looking back and the way things were, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. You always want to live in the present, but if we don't remember the past, then we're pretty much doomed to repeat it. Dante Trainmaster says, KB Toys is returning in 2019. Yes, I do remember hearing about that. And I really think that they can make a go of it, especially now that Toys R Us is gone. KB Toys always had an advantage to the fact that they were usually in the malls and they had smaller stores, so they had a lot less overhead. Though now, with malls dying off, I kind of wonder if they're going to do the opposite. I wonder if they're going to start branching out and having more independent locations, kind of like Toys R Us did. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Excuse me. But I still think they need to have the smaller stores, because all that real estate that Toys R Us had, it was too much. And I think inevitably that had a lot to do with their downfall. Yes, I know that their debt was a big part of it, but if they had less stores and the smaller footprint and maybe focus more on online sales, I think they could have made a go of it instead of going bankrupt. Is really what happened. Hired Gun says, my wife worked at a video store when I met her. We bought out a lot of their tapes when they closed up. Yeah, I had a few friends when I was younger that owned video rental stores on and off, and I kind of wonder what happened to all those tapes. I hope that they didn't all wind up in the landfills. I mean, it would really be a shame. And yeah, when you run a video rental business back then, especially with VHS tapes, by the time you closed up, there probably were quite a few tapes that were worn out, but there are even ways to fix those. I mean, you could actually transplant VHS tapes from one shell to another. I've never done that. I've done it with cassette tapes, but it is possible. But again, that only works if the problem are the rollers. A lot of times the problem is the tape is just plumb worn out from people watching it over and over and over again. That's a big problem with analog media of any type, whether it be VHS tapes, cassette tapes, Betamax, Umatic, whatever they used to call it. The physical tape would wear out. And it really goes to optical media, too, when you think about burnt CDs. give you a great example here. These are some CDs that I burnt years ago. They're Prime Peripherals, which was never a great company to begin with. And you can see they're burnt because they actually burn they use a laser to burn the disc versus like a pre-recorded disc, which is etched. And what tends to happen is these chemicals over time break down. And unfortunately, maybe 4, 5, 6 years down the road, even these particular discs won't be readable anymore. So really, that's why digital media is really taking a foothold, not just because of the convenience of it, but because, if you buy an album through iTunes, chances are you're not going to lose it. Even if you do lose it, say you download it to your hard drive and your hard drive crashes, you can actually re-download that from the iTunes server. Now, there are some exceptions like vinyl. Vinyl can last forever if you take care of it. So it really is funny. Everything old is new again, and some of the older technologies are winding up being the better technologies. Yes, Nick, I would definitely agree. The blank discs do scratch very easily, with the exception of Blu-ray. BDRs do not. Burnable Blu-rays are just as robust, in my experience, as their pre-recorded press counterparts. Chet Boulay says, I still have over 100 VHS tapes that are great quality and play continuously. We have watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation as a family last week on VHS. Yeah, they can last if you take really good care of them and you play them on really good quality VCRs. I'm just talking in general because for the most part, the people out there that watch VHS tapes did not take care of them, and they usually didn't play them on really high quality VCRs. A lot of times people had those cheap 2-head Memorex or Gold Star VHS players that tended to have misaligned heads that would actually warp the tape. True story. We had a really cheap, I think it may have actually even been a 4-head, but it was a Gold Star VCR back in the day. And we bought it brand new. And what wound up happening was the heads weren't aligned. So every once in a while, I noticed that my favorite tapes back then were my Teddy Ruxpin tapes. Every once in a while, I noticed that there was a crease. And when I would open up and look at the tape, there'd be a crease on top of it. I'm like, what's going on here? And when I would play it, I noticed that the quality of the tape was degraded. Like you could tell there was a lot of static. There was actually a interference bar on top. And I talked to a buddy of mine that worked for a VHS repair shop back then. And sure enough, he said, well, your tape head's misaligned. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, how many tapes have you played this? I'm like, all my favorite tapes. And he's like, well, chances are you've damaged irreparably your VHS tapes. And he was right. Pretty much every one of my childhood VHS tapes got damaged from that cheap VCR. So the moral of the story is, if you want to play your VHS tapes and keep them for any length of time, get yourself a good, high-quality VCR to play them on. Hired Gun said it. JVC invented the VHS format, and they make the best VCRs, in my opinion. It's a JVC VCR right there. You see the, where is it? You see that right there, the little display? It's a 1988 4-head JVC VCR. I think it's a GR series. Great VCR. Has never given me a day's trouble in the probably 2 or 3 years I owned it. That's actually a thrift store find, believe it or not. Buddy said, I got my JVC player for 50 cents. Great deal. Yeah, they'll last you forever if you take care of them. Really, the only thing you may have to do is replace the belts after 5-10 years, but that's pretty easy to do. You usually just take the bottom cover off the VCR, and you can get the belt kits online for $5-10. It's well worth doing too. Chet Boulay, I have a VCR DVD combo set on 2 players, and regular VHS player is my best one. that only plays VHS. It's very high quality, and I can figure out model numbers if anyone's interested. Yeah, the older ones are really good. Most VHS DVD combos are not the greatest quality. There are a few exceptions out there. Some of the Toshiba ones were decent quality, but the ones that are like Memorex or Sanyo, Funai, all those real cheap ones will destroy your VHS tapes. Just don't do it. Hello there, said Matt. Interested to know, when you build and set up refurbished PCs for sale, do you manually use a Windows disk, or do you have a pre-built image deployment solution to auto install all the common apps? No, I usually do it manually. I use the existing product key on the computer. I get the Windows 10. I use the Windows 10 media creation tool, and I have a flash drive that has all the programs that I install. I could create a batch file to do it, but honestly, it doesn't take that long and doesn't really bother me that much. We're really getting off topic, but that's okay. This is New Year's Eve live stream. I really don't care. You know what? We'll talk about whatever we want. Robert Jones asks, Matt, can your VHS be saved if you put them on your computer? Yeah, you can do that. You can use a video capture card and hook a VCR up to your computer and pretty much save all your movies to a file. Usually it's something like a MP4 file or an AVI file. The problem is time. It takes a lot of time because, unlike ripping a DVD to a computer, you actually have to play that VHS in real time. So for somebody like me who has 400 or 500 VHS tapes, well, let's do the math. So let's see, we average maybe it's 2 hours. So that's 120 minutes times 400. That's 48,000 minutes. So you do the math. So let's see, 48,000 minutes in hours. That's 800 hours. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a far more better things I could do with 800 hours than just sit there and watch my computer import VHS tapes. I would much rather just enjoy the VHS tapes while I have them, and when they degrade to the point that I can't watch them anymore, I'll throw them in the dustbin. It'll be sad, but I'll go right out and I'll buy a DVD of that movie or a Blu-ray, or I'll go buy another VHS. Believe it or not, the thrift stores are filled with duplicate copies of my favorite movies, and I've actually done that before, believe it or not. And I'm sure that'll be true for many years to come, because there are still people out there that are just giving up their VHS collection. If you go into the local thrift stores, there's actually more VHS tapes sometimes than there are DVDs. So I'm not too worried about it. Andrea Mallory, off the top of your head, can you name the Seven Dwarfs? Dopey, Sneezy, Bashful, Doc. That's about all I can remember. It's been many years since I've seen Snow White. I'm Doc then. I think the fourth one was the one I said. Yep. She goes, the one you say fourth will be the nickname for the new year. So I'm Doc. Hey, that actually works really well, because with all the nutritional information I've been giving you guys, I'm kind of like a doctor, right? That's cool. Mr. Jimmy says, at the Salvation Army by my house, they had like 50 copies of Shrek on VHS. Oh man, that's one I see a lot too. Shrek. I also see a lot of Monsters Inc. I actually got my mother 2 copies of it because that's her favorite movie. And I see a lot of the Disney movies, a lot of Beauty and the Beast. copies of that, a lot of Little Mermaid, but not the real expensive, not the real ones that are worth a lot of money. Usually the masterpiece collection, the later ones, and the earlier ones had some questionable artwork. That's what makes them so valuable, especially in the Little Mermaid. And no, we're not going to get into specifics of what was on there that shouldn't have been, but those of you probably that are out there that are my age probably know what I'm talking about. Cameron Cloud, do you like a physical copy of everything, or do you like download at all? I do download, but I do like physical copies. I tend to be a little obsessive compulsive, and I like collecting things. So yes, when it comes to like CDs, cassette tapes, VHS tapes, I like having the actual physical media. I download things on occasion, but it's usually not me. I don't actually I don't actually like the sound the sound of digital music. For me, I have a very keen ear, and I can actually hear the artifacting and the just robotic sound of digital music. I much prefer listening to an analog format, whether it's a cassette, a record, even music recorded on a VHS tape sounds a lot better to me. Well, I got 42 likes and 16 watchers. I have no idea how that happened. I wonder if the watch count is messed up somehow, but I digress. And that's why I like my Buick LeSabre, my 2000 Buick LeSabre, because that actually has a cassette player, and I'm able to listen to my cassettes, which I can't with my van. And honestly, part of me is thinking of getting rid of the Chrysler Town and Country. It's nothing definite yet. I'm not making that decision right now, but I'm honestly enjoying the Buick LeSabre so much right now, and it really does have a lot of room. I could bring most of my computer halls home in that. That's one reason. The other reason is I actually make payments on the van. I do not own the van outright. That is something I purchased and probably won't own it outright for another 2 years or so. So those two things are making me think I may wind up getting rid of the van. Now, you probably ask, Matt, how can you do that when you still make payments on it? Well, probably couldn't do it right away, but in about another 4 or 5 months, I'd probably have enough paid off to where I could sell the vehicle. And it's really weird how you have to do this. To sell a vehicle that you have financed, that you don't own outright, you have to find a buyer. You have to have that buyer look at it, and after they like the vehicle and decide they want to buy it, they have to be okay with giving you the money, the full amount for the vehicle. Then what you do is you actually pay the finance company off, and then they'll send you the title, and then and only then can you give him the vehicle and the title, or you let him take the vehicle, and then you have to give him like what they call a promissory note, I think it is, and then you have to give him the title as soon as the finance company gives it to you. So it's really convoluted, and I don't really want to have to do it that way. I mean, there are other options too. There are things like CarMax that I could probably sell it to them and maybe only owe a little bit, because let's face it, they're in the business to make money, so they're also not going to give me full retail. But again, this is something that I haven't decided 100% I'm going to do. I'm just contemplating my options because I really don't need 2 vehicles. Robert Jones says, Matt, what about high-speed dubbing? The only high-speed dubbing that I know of is through recording cassettes, and the only reason you'd ever want to do that is if you're recording audio, in other words, the spoken word. High-speed dubbing, if you're recording cassettes via high-speed dubbing and you're recording music, it sounds terrible. It really does, because you're losing a lot of the quality. You get a lot of wow and flutter, a lot of dropouts that way too. I wouldn't recommend it. Cameron Clout says, get rid of all your cars and get yourself a Camaro. Oh, I'd love to have a Camaro, but Can't really fit too many computers in a Camaro. That would be my only problem. Jonathan Grindle said, need a better alternative for virtual machine, not VirtualBox, because I need to be secure and reliable. You guys want to know an interesting fact? I have never once used a virtual machine. I just haven't had a need for it. I will tell you this much. There are a lot of people out there, of course, they'll be better qualified to answer that question than I will. Just do some research. I mean, Google is your best friend. If you don't know something, Google it. And if that doesn't work, YouTube it. YouTube that question. I guarantee you someone else has had that other same problem that you're having. Andrea Mallory, does the back seat of the Buick go down for storage? Not to the best of my knowledge. I believe that the only ones that did that were the LeSabre Limiteds. Mine's a custom. I mean, I could theoretically pull the back seat out because that's where the battery is, but that really wouldn't give me much more storage. Stephen Barber, I use VMware. In fact, I have to own a computer that is VMware ready. If you have a question about VMware VirtualBox, ask away. There you go. That's why I like this forum, because things that I don't know, guarantee you someone else here knows. Let me see what else we got going on here. 17 watchers, and I still can't believe I have 44 likes. It's amazing. Cameron Cloud, with your job, do you have to pay your own taxes when you do consulting work and PC sales? What are your I'm not going to go into details about like my weekly expenses and everything, but yes, to answer your question, yes, absolutely. Would imagine you would always be waiting for payments when you invoice people. You have no idea. That is a big problem when you work for yourself. There's always unpaid invoices, and sometimes the problem is the opposite too. Sometimes people will prepay for a service or prepay for equipment that they don't ever pick up. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the nature of the beast when you own your own business like this. If you have any like specific issues, I mean, I don't do my own taxes. I have a CPA that does them. I would never do my own taxes. Not now. You know, before when I worked for another company, yeah, I mean you could do it, but it's smart to have a professional do it because they can make sure all your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted. I think I got that saying wrong, but yeah, I mean it's never easy. I'm telling you, it just isn't. Computers 101. This is Chris's from Chris's Tech Channel. I'm starting a new YouTube channel devoted to computers. Very nice. I actually watched a little bit of your live stream earlier, your vlog for today. That was really cool. I love watching other people here on YouTube. It really calms me. Like late at night, if I'm having a hard time sleeping, I'll go and pop some of my buddies' videos up. And lately, I've been watching a lot of this show, basically devoted to British people that are not only on the dole but are overweight and are trying to get to better themselves. And that kind of pushes me because I've kind of overeaten during the Christmas season. I don't think I've gained any weight, but I know I haven't lost any weight either. And I'm trying to get to the point where I don't have to worry about putting pounds on. And it actually, I know this is kind of bad to say, but to watch people that are struggling kind of motivates me to do better. So in a way, it's kind of a plus, if you know what I mean. But I don't want to be a downer here. This is New Year's Eve. This is the time of year that we should celebrate being with family, being with friends. So let's move on from that topic. Cameron Cloud says, can we head over and give Mr. Jimmy's videos a like? Yes, please do that. He is an up-and-coming YouTuber influenced by Matt. Thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoy his videos, and he's very intelligent. Mr. Jimmy, if you're here, just shout out to you right there. Okay, let's try not to talk about people's personal relationships on here. I try not to do that as a common courtesy. No, I haven't tried the Windows 95 app out on Windows 10 yet. I can imagine that's definitely a nostalgic way to go. I remember trying Windows 95 for the first time on our Compact Presario 9546 that we got from Service Merchandise in December of 1995. That was our big Christmas gift. And the interesting fact of that was when we first got it, it actually had Windows 3.1 on it. What they wound up doing, about a week after we got it, we actually had to send a coupon in to Microsoft. And about a week later, Windows 95 came in the mail on, I want to say it was 30 floppy disks. Well, guess what? Those disks didn't work, or at least one or two of them didn't work. So we called up the service center, and the only other option was there was actually a Windows 95 partition on the computer that it came with. But unfortunately, there was no way to activate that partition at the time to reinstall Windows. So what we had to do, we actually had to get 42 floppy disks. And we actually had there was a like a recovery partition creation tool on there. We actually had to make our own recovery disks on 42 floppy disks and then install Windows 95 via 42 1.55 megabyte, 3.5-inch floppy disks. And that whole process took about 8 hours. And luckily, it did work in the end. And I was just like, could they make this any more difficult? I mean, and this was at a time when their CDs were plentiful. I mean, this was December of 1995. I mean, the computer had a 4X or quad speed CD-ROM drive in it. I'm like, they're still doing this with floppy disks? Unbelievable. Now, granted, there were no CD burners, so there would have been no way for us to actually burn a CD, from the recovery partition. But at the very least, they could have sent us a Windows 95 CD instead of sending us 30-something. No, it was 23 floppy disks, of which one or two didn't work, and that's why we had to go through that whole mess. Stephen Barber goes, I liked it, but I also liked Windows ME more due to USB support. Well, technically, Windows 98 and Windows 95 version B had USB support too. I could not stand Windows ME because of the system resource glitch, where you'd have to restart your computer pretty much after you ran any program because you'd run out of resources and the computer would just crash. Robert Jones asked, Matt, what was your favorite thing to happen in 2018? Being able to attend my cousin's wedding in Sioux Falls. That was awesome. I cannot tell you how much fun I had out there. And being able to also spend that time, quality time with my uncle, was very, very special to me. I wouldn't have changed anything for the world. Cameron Cloud, how do you know when your cat's done cleaning herself? She lights a cigarette. That's funny. Though smoking, don't smoke. Please don't smoke. See, we are 15 minutes away. Well, 16 minutes away from New Year's. I'm going to make it, tubers. I'm very tired right now. To be honest with you, all I want to do is go right over there and lay down and go to bed. But we're going to make it. I'm going to make it to midnight. I'm doing my best here. I'm losing steam, but you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to make it. Help me out here. We got 20 watchers and 53 likes. I think people have just come in to like, and that's fine. Thank you. That helps me out as well. Yeah, I don't know, Steven, you must have been one of the few people that never had issues with Windows ME because almost everybody I knew could not stand it. And when Windows ME came out, they couldn't wait to upgrade to Windows XP, which pretty much came out a year later. But to each his own and her own. Very interesting. Cameron Cloud says, we had New Year's last night in New Zealand. We are the first people in the world to see the New Year and sunrise. Jealous. Hired Gun says, I actually did not have XP until '07, so pretty much when it was going out. That's interesting. Nick Roberts says Windows 98 SE, XP, Windows 7 and 10 are the best Windows OSs ever. No argument there. I might have to add Windows 2000 in there. I love Windows 2000. Matter of fact, my Windows 2000 system, the HP Pavilion 8000 series, that thing, I've never had to reinstall Windows on that. And I've had that computer for about 5 years now. I think so, Robert Jones. It's probably the highest number of likes I've ever had on a live stream. That's awesome. 54 likes at the moment. 55. Just hit 55. Yeah, I think I'm going to wear this shirt next time. I think this is what's helping the iris focus and give me a really, really good clear picture. This is still using my Logitech C920, something like that. The webcam I've had on here for the longest time, and it's really working nicely right now. Imaging devices. Let me look. Logitech HD Pro Webcam C920 is the webcam that I'm actually using to film these live streams. I only say that because I know somebody's going to ask me exactly what model it is. Jonathan Grindle asks, have you tried Windows 7 Gold and Windows XP Black Edition? Yes, I have, specifically XP Black Edition, but I didn't use it that much. I think Black Edition was like a tweaked version of XP. It actually ran really well, to be honest with you, but I don't run XP at all anymore because there's just no reason to, no support. Sonic Wang asked, have you ever used Windows 69? No, but I'd like to. Chip Boulay, what is your favorite holiday movie show? Movie show? You talking about like a special? The special would probably be the Alvin the Chipmunks, A Chipmunk Christmas. What's my favorite pastime? Holiday pastime? Baking, or at least it used to be before I went on this lifestyle change. Now I find baked goods the enemy. 21 watchers and 56 likes. Awesome. Oh, movies. Oh, yeah. Yeah. My favorite holiday movie is still Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation. We're so glad it's Christmas Vacation. Not a ton of stuff to celebrate. Jing-a-lang-a-lang-a-lang-lang. Gather toasted fire burning bright. Still my favorite movie. It was close with Christmas Story, but I've kind of gotten sick of both movies, to be honest with you. But I just find Christmas Vacation a comic genius. Whoever did, well, Neil Simon, but I mean, everything just went right. And if you listen to what Chevy Chase said about the Vacation movie, he said that was his favorite one by far, and that's because during the filming of that movie, everything went right. And when everything goes right and you don't have any beefs with cast members, you don't have any strikes or anything, chances are you'll have a really good movie, as long as it has a good script. Cameron Cloud says, worst movie ever is Boss Baby. Never saw it, probably never will see it. Thanks for letting me know, too. Oh, no, Baby Geniuses, I saw it. It wasn't, definitely not the worst movie I ever saw, but it was up there. Probably the worst movie I ever saw was a ripoff of Anaconda that some low budget third party, like an indie film kind of thing. And I actually gave that like a 1.5. I couldn't even get through the whole thing. It's something my dad rented. It was like in the when they had Blockbuster Video and you could rent those DVDs that had like 10 movies on them. Oh, just unbelievably bad. The special effects. Probably one of my favorite cult classic movies is something that a lot of you guys probably have never heard of. It's called Amazon Women on the Moon. It came out in 1986. And basically it was a spoof of the Saturday night movies you would see in the 50s and 60s, and how there would be like 10 minutes of movie and an hour's worth of commercials. So actually the bulk of this movie are the funny commercials. I'm curious to see if any of you guys have ever seen that movie. It's kind of raunchy. It's definitely R-rated because there is a lot of nudity in it, especially in certain scenes. But if you're an adult, it's definitely worth watching. And you can find some of the commercials and the skits on YouTube. It's kind of done like Saturday Night Live in parts. If you get a chance, and I'll try to share this link. One of the funniest parts of it was this one called Don No Soul Simmons. See if I can share this. Okay. And I'm not trying to start anything here, but this is one of the funniest skits. It's called Blacks Without Soul. I'm going to share the link so you guys can click that YouTube video and watch it. And it's really, really funny. I mean, this is one movie that in certain parts would just have me on the floor laughing my guts out. Never saw Super Size Me. Robert Jones likes Blazing Saddles. That was one I really didn't care for that much. I like Mel Brooks' humor, don't get me wrong. If I have to choose a Mel Brooks movie as my favorite, Young Frankenstein by far, and then probably Spaceballs is a close second. I'm not saying Blazing Saddles is a bad movie. It just wasn't my kind of humor. It was more drier than I was used to, kind of more deadpan in places. Whereas, Young Frankenstein, I still laugh. I think about Ray Barone's dad, Frank, playing the monster, and it was just, he was perfect. Perfect height, perfect weight, perfect face for that. Again, another movie where everything just went right. Yeah, History of the World was good. I believe it or not, I don't think I've actually seen that movie all the way through. The Producers was one of Mel Brooks' early ones. Pretty much all of these had Gene Wilder in it. Again, great movies. A great actor and a great director. And I hear they're thinking about remaking Spaceballs or making a sequel to it. And if they can do it while Mel Brooks is still alive, because he is up there in age now, something I would definitely watch. It's just a shame we can't have John Candy. I wish we still had John Candy with us because he was super funny and he was great in that role. Hey, maybe they can get John Goodman to reprise that role, but even he's lost a lot of weight now. If you guys have seen him recently, he looks real good. He's probably rivaling me in weight loss. Stephen Barber says, I can't wait till summer because Toy Story 4 will be out. I will definitely be seeing that. I loved Toy Story 3. I'm just starting up a countdown clock. I just thought about that. I want to know exactly when the new year is going to start. Come on, who we got here? There we go. New Year's countdown clock, 5 minutes and 14 seconds. Hope everybody is ready to ring in the new year. And if you are drinking tonight, please do not drive. Stay at home, stay wherever you are, stay with your friends. And if you have a designated driver, that's fine, but do not get out there and get behind the wheel. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Jonathan Grindle said, Toy Story 1 gave me nightmares. Yeah, Toy Story 1 was kind of dark, especially with Sid. Yeah, I could definitely see that. My favorite one by far is Toy Story 2, where they introduced Jessie and Stinky Pete and Bullseye. I just love that one. I think Wayne Knight playing the voice of the heavy set guy that was going to sell them to the Chinese, the Japanese toy museum. That was hilarious. Everything was just done brilliantly in Toy Story 2. Toy Story 3 went, it's funny, Toy Story 3 went even more dark, I think, to be honest with you. I think Toy Story 2 had its dark moments, but for the most part, it was pretty lighthearted. Jonathan Grindle, have you seen Up Periscope, Matt? The one with Kelsey Grammer? Yeah, that was kind of funny. I'll be honest with you, though, I don't remember it very well. Well, there were two of them there. Oh, that was Down Periscope. Up Periscope was the 1959 movie with James Garner, Edmund O'Brien. And Down Periscope, it was the one with Kelsey Grammer. That was the one with him and Lauren Holly. I got the two confused. Where are we at? Hold on. Make sure I'm not losing this. 3 minutes and 8 seconds. So a few more questions, and then I got to concentrate on this New Year's countdown. Sonic Wang, what are your top 5 comedy TV shows? Let's see. Roseanne, MASH. This is hard. Home Improvement, Night Court, and then probably one that you guys wouldn't think of, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Actually been watching a lot of Night Court recently. Now, this is weird. I have 70 likes and only 19 watchers. That is darn odd. I don't know how that's happening, but okay, I'll take it. 71. That's awesome. I think I have more watchers than the actual counter's telling me. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. All right. Real quick, New Year's resolutions. I want to hear your New Year's resolutions within the next 2 minutes, and hopefully they'll come true. They will come true. Just tell them to me real quick. 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Let's hear them. What are your New Year's resolutions? Come on, put them in that top chat. I want to see what they are. And make them realistic, please. I don't want to hear things like, my New Year's resolution is to buy 5 Maseratis or to go base jumping off Mount Kilimanjaro. Sonic Wang's New Year's resolution is 1280 by 720. Good resolution. Hired gun, dropped 40 pounds this year. Excellent. That is definitely doable. Matthew 100346Z20Q. More socks. You mean socks like this? That's all right. Hey, you're going to need them this winter, especially the thermal ones. Stephen Barber, my New Year's resolution is to get my A1C under control, and so far it's working. Very good. Very good New Year's resolution. Computers 101, get healthier. George Blakely, we have keep getting more exercise. So we have health, exercise, A1C, all go in together. Great resolutions. Mark Covington says, find more happiness. That's another great New Year's resolution. And they're all doable. They're all things you guys and gals can work on. If you need help, I'm always here. I'll help you to the best of my ability. We're 30 seconds out. So 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Happy New Year, everybody! Shall old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and made old lang syne? Happy New Year, everybody. I'm going to bed, and have a blessed evening.